Emily Johnson grew up in a small town in Ohio where life always seemed simple on the surface but had undercurrents of complexity that nobody really spoke about. She was 27 years old, working as a school counselor, and living in the same town where she had gone to high school. Her life was steady, calm, and filled with the usual routines: work, family dinners on Sundays, and the occasional catch-up with old friends at the local cafe. But under that calm surface, Emily had been carrying a secret for years, one that weighed heavier on her heart with every passing season. She had fallen in love with Daniel Carter, her childhood friend. Daniel wasn't just a casual acquaintance, he had been around since the days of lemonade stands and bike rides down Maple Street. They had laughed together, grown up side by side, and supported each other through heartbreaks, exams, and life's countless little surprises. Daniel had been the boy next door who helped her fix a flat tire, the young man who cheered her on when she got her first job, and the friend who listened patiently when she needed to cry. Somewhere along the line, Emily realized her feelings had grown deeper, richer, and more complicated than just friendship. The problem was that Daniel was in a long-term relationship. He had been dating someone from college named Claire, and eventually, they got engaged. Emily never voiced her feelings, not once, not even in the moments when her heart ached the most. She convinced herself that being Daniel's friend was better than losing him completely. So she stood by, offering polite smiles at engagement parties, giving cheerful toasts at gatherings, and pretending her heart wasn't quietly breaking inside. It was during the summer of Daniel's engagement that everything changed. Emily had been helping her sister, Rachel, move into a new apartment across town. After a long day of packing boxes and arranging furniture, Rachel insisted Emily join her for a small dinner gathering at a local restaurant. "It'll be good for you," Rachel had said with her usual big sister tone, the kind that always sounded more like a command than a suggestion. Emily reluctantly agreed. When Emily walked into the restaurant, her eyes fell immediately on Daniel. He was sitting at the far end of the table with his fiancée Claire, laughing with a group of mutual friends. Emily's stomach tightened, and she almost turned around to leave, but Rachel ushered her forward. All evening, Emily felt the tug of old feelings, stronger than ever, but she forced herself to stay composed. She congratulated Claire, laughed at the group's jokes, and even found herself reminiscing with Daniel about high school days. After dinner, Claire left early to attend another event, leaving Daniel behind with friends. One by one, the group dwindled until only Daniel and Emily remained. The restaurant was nearly empty, and a quiet hush had settled over the room. Emily told herself it was just another casual moment, just two old friends catching up. But the air between them felt different, charged in a way she couldn't explain. They decided to walk home together since the night was warm and the town was quiet. As they walked past the old high school, memories came flooding back. They laughed about a prank from senior year, the awkward school dances, and teachers they once thought were too strict. But somewhere in the laughter, Emily felt the weight of what she had never said pressing down on her. Her chest ached with the truth she had hidden for so long. Finally, standing under the glow of a streetlight, Emily stopped walking. Her voice trembled as she spoke. "Daniel, I need to tell you something. Something I should have said a long time ago." Daniel turned to her, his expression soft but curious. "What is it, Em?" The words caught in her throat, but she pushed through. "I've loved you for years. Longer than I can even remember. And I know you're with Claire. I know it's not fair to say this now, but I can't keep pretending anymore." For a long moment, silence stretched between them. Emily's heart pounded so loudly she thought he must hear it. Daniel finally exhaled and looked at her with eyes that were both gentle and heavy with unspoken emotion. "Emily," he said quietly, "you have no idea how many times I wondered if you felt that way. And I need to be honest too. A part of me has always loved you. But I tried to bury it because life took us in different directions." Tears welled in Emily's eyes. For years, she had imagined his rejection, his awkwardness, his dismissal of her feelings. She had never imagined that he might actually feel the same. The moment was overwhelming, raw, and deeply human. They didn't cross any lines that night. Instead, they sat down on a park bench under the stars and talked for hours. They talked about everything, about the years they had missed, the choices they had made, the regrets that lingered, and the dreams they still carried. Emily realized that sometimes love wasn't about possession or rushing into something reckless. Sometimes it was about understanding, honesty, and courage. In the weeks that followed, Emily distanced herself, giving Daniel space to make his own choices. She didn't want to be the reason for a broken engagement, and she respected Claire enough not to interfere. Daniel, however, found himself re-evaluating his life. For the first time, he admitted that his relationship with Claire wasn't what he truly wanted. It wasn't fair to her, and it wasn't fair to himself. Months later, Daniel ended his engagement. It was painful, complicated, and far from easy, but it was the right decision. He and Emily didn't rush into a romance right away. Instead, they rebuilt their friendship, this time with the honesty that had been missing for so long. Slowly, over time, their bond grew into something undeniable. 2 years later, Emily stood at the same restaurant where everything had shifted that summer night. But this time, she wasn't the one quietly hurting inside. She was standing beside Daniel, their hands intertwined, as they celebrated their engagement surrounded by friends and family. The love that once seemed impossible had finally found its rightful place. Looking back, Emily often thought about that night under the streetlight. It hadn't been about passion or impulse, it had been about truth. And that truth had changed everything. Her story became a reminder that honesty, no matter how late it arrives, can open doors we thought were forever closed. It taught her that love isn't always about the timing we want, it's about the courage to speak when the moment finally comes. And sometimes, just sometimes, love that was once hidden in silence can become the most beautiful story of all.